How do you actually stay motivated when it comes to your health and wellness goals? I know this is a common question I have received along my wellness journey, but I know that this is something that women everywhere are trying to discern. Like, how do I actually stay motivated? How do I stay committed to what I want to continue to create in my life? How do I really focus in on my health and wellness in a way that feels sustainable and manageable and something that I actually feel motivated to commit to? It's not easy to do. And so that's why I want to talk about this idea of motivation, what that really means, what that looks like, and how do we actually stay committed to our long-term health goals when sometimes the short-term progress feels slow, feels like we're going backwards, feels hard, this mixed bag of all of the emotion. And so I know what that feels like personally, and that's why I want to kind of talk about it today. So one of the first things I like to share with my clients, but I also like to continue to remind myself when I think about motivation related to health goals, is why this is even important. Like, why do I even want to feel healthy in my day-to-day? Why do I want to prioritize my wellness for my family, for my kids, for my longevity? What does it even matter? And so for me, I'm constantly looking back at the why behind health and using that as the anchor. Because once you have that as the deep-rooted reason, the motivation is not something that you rely on. You eventually start to rely on the habits of why it actually matters to continue to work towards the deep-rooted reason of prioritizing something like your health. I know for me, I've had to learn the hard way in different seasons what it feels like to show up for my family and my kids when I'm not prioritizing my health. It hasn't been great. It's been me short fused. It's been me filled with anxiety. It's been me feeling so insecure and not really showing up with confidence, like present, joyful, fulfilled, energized mom that I really want to. And so I've learned through experience, through my own journey, that knowing why it matters is one of the key anchors to actually continuing to show up. So that's the first piece, asking yourself why you even want to feel healthy, why you want to prioritize your health. What does health really feel like to you? And what will that mean inevitably for how you show up day in and day out? So that's the first one. And one of the things you can do, which has also been helpful for me, is making that why visible. Putting it on a piece of paper, putting it on a sticky note, creating into something that you laminate over your desk or put on your fridge, put it as something that you stick up in your car so you see it every time you're driving somewhere. I have a why rooted in visible reminders all the time around me. So I have window clings and stickers and journal notes and things in my phone on my background, so many ways for me to continue to be reminded why health matters. And for me, it's very simple. Health matters because I want to be able to show up for my life and for my family in an energized, present, fulfilled way. Because if I don't, I'm missing the whole damn point. Like, I literally will miss all of the things that matter most to me. And so that's number one. So make it visible so you're reminded. Number two is redefining progress. And I know for motivational purposes and continuing to stay encouraged when it comes to pressing forward on your health goals, we want to be making sure we're looking at different measurements of success. So often we're focused on one thing, like, what does the scale say? What number am I at? What size am I at? And we need to be really digging into redefining progress and success in a much larger capacity, especially when we get in different seasons of our life, like midlife health. Things like our energy, things like our sleep, things like our mood, our strength, our patience. How do we feel at 3 p.m., right? Like, how does our whole being feel? Those are huge measurements of success. Now, I always work with my clients on overall body composition change. What is our waist to hip ratio looking like? How do we feel in our bodies? Like, that's a big piece to how we feel when it comes to success. But we want to make sure that we're reassessing and redefining progress as much as possible and looking at the larger picture. That is going to be a huge piece to continuing to feel encouraged and motivated to press forward, because we're looking at all of these different benchmarks as a way to kind of assess how we're continuing to move forward. The third is working with our physiology. And this is a big one for women. We have not been educated about how to actually work with our physiology. And so as our bodies change, sometimes it can feel like we're failing. Sometimes it can feel like we're broken. Sometimes it can feel like all of the things that we're experiencing has us defeated in so many different ways. And so in order to continue to stay encouraged and motivated, we have to start to get educated about what hormonal shifts mean in midlife health. It impacts our metabolism. It impacts our mood, our energy, our motivation, and so much more. We have to understand what's going on physiologically underneath the hood and learn how to tailor our habits towards really getting in tune with what serves our physiology best. And so we want to get into this place of working with our physiology because everything becomes more sustainable and a little bit easier to continue to implement because we're focusing most on what actually serves us with intention in different seasons of our life. Number 4 is making things feel manageable and embracing that it's always going to be imperfect. This is a big one for overall motivation and encouragement along our journey. We have to remember that there's going to be seasons where it's not going to be easy, where it's going to feel messy, where it's going to feel like we're going backwards. We have to let go of the all or nothing trap. The all or nothing mindset is what holds us hostage. It's the thing that prevents us from being able to continue to move forward and continue to stay motivated towards our long-term goals. And so choosing to commit to small things daily and then realizing that it's always going to be imperfect, that's what keeps it manageable. I'll always know that consistency beats intensity every single time. So the goal should always be, how do you imperfectly get into consistent action? Remembering that it's going to be a little bit different every day. But consistency is the name of the game. And that's how we slowly make progress over time. The last thing is really making sure that you're surrounding yourself with support. You are not meant to do all of this alone. So when I think about how do you stay motivated, how do you continue to press forward, I don't do life alone. I also don't do my health alone. I have groups that I work with. I have teams that I'm a part of. I have practitioners that are helping me along my journey and helping me get into personalized protocols and understanding what my physiology needs. I have people working with me just like I work with other people because no one is meant to do this alone. Having a community, having coaches, being able to connect in some capacity with like-minded people, especially when our motivation dips. That makes all the difference when it comes to continuing on towards our long-term goals. Please remember how important it is to understand that you are not meant to do all of this alone. Having people around you is crucial. And that's one of the things that I talk about often in the health and wellness space. We are not meant to do all of this alone. We are not meant to sit in confusion alone, feel overwhelmed on our own, and try to just figure things out and power through and muscle through. There are so many ways we can get into community groups and be encouraged from coaches and other people that are doing this work right alongside us. And I know that it's not always easy to find those components or places to dig into, but they are out there. And I want you to feel encouraged to find resources and community groups and coaches and people that speak to you and feel aligned to you. That is what I do in the work that I am here to create every single day. I create community spaces, I create groups, I create one-to-one coaching opportunities, and I work with women in midlife specifically on how do you really start to put these things into practice so you can stay consistent, so you can stay motivated, so you can embrace imperfection along the journey to your health. Because I know when you're looking at long-term health goals and the day-to-day feels hard, and the day-to-day feels messy, and the day-to-day can feel inconsistent. It can feel like, how am I ever going to get there? How am I ever going to accomplish the goals that I have set out in front of me? How am I really going to get to this place of feeling good in the skin I'm in from the inside out? And the way to do that is through imperfectly going one day at a time. And remembering that while we have these long-term goals and we have this longevity focus and we have these things that we're working towards, what we're doing on a day-to-day basis is what will truly get us to that place of those long-term things that we have on our list. And so to quickly recap, let's talk about, if we're thinking about how do we stay motivated, how do we actually stay encouraged towards our health goals? What are the 5 things that I like to talk about and teach on? The first is why. Why does health even matter? And put it in a visible place so you're reminded. The second is redefining progress. So far beyond scales and sizes. What's your energy like, mood like, sleep like, stress like? How do you feel day in and day out? Redefining what success is. The third is working with your physiology, understanding that your body changes, hormonal shifts bring changes. And so we're going to have to ebb and flow our effort from all kinds of different pieces of our lifestyle in order to make sure we're really working with our unique body and brain and not working against it. The fourth piece is making it manageable, remembering that it's not going to be perfect, that consistency will always beat intensity. And so little imperfect steps over time are what matter most. And then surrounding yourself with support, finding community, finding coaches like me, getting into a place where you can create a highly personalized plan that works for you. Understanding that we are not meant to do all of this alone. All of these things matter. And so when you think about a topic like motivation, understand that motivation itself ebbs and flows. The thing that's going to continue to keep you moving forward are the consistent, simple, imperfect actions every single day and staying deep rooted in why it matters to you for your life. Please know I'm always happy to chat more about the work I do as a coach and how I can continue to support you towards your long-term longevity health goals. And that all comes down to what are the foundations of wellness we are working through and focused on every single day in an imperfect way with support. Because at the end of the day, that's what really creates motivation and encouragement to continue to press forward towards our long-term health goals. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I know balancing time and energy can be a challenge, and I'm so proud of you for listening in and investing in your wellness journey. I feel incredibly grateful to connect with you and for the opportunity to share more knowledge, stories, and encouragement related to all things wellness. I would love to hear how this podcast has served you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review on either iTunes or Spotify. Your support truly means the world to me and helps me reach more women just like you and me who are looking to transform their health from the inside out. Plus, when you share this episode with a friend, we invite more women in to learn alongside us. What a gift. Remember, knowledge is power, and the more we know, the better we can do. For ourselves, for our families, and our future. Well done on taking the step towards a healthier, happier you. Until next week, stay empowered and stay well.